for the good of his own creation. Because he only allows individuals or nations to go so far into sin. So, being redeemed. When I say I'm redeemed, I'm saying I've been bought by the blood of the Lamb. I'm no longer a slave to I no longer have to be a slave to my evil, sinful inclinations. The once born can't do anything good. Everything they do is evil. Even if they go and they work in a place like this and they try to earn their salvation before, even if they come here, like the unconverted come here and they volunteer and they're trying to earn their salvation, even those acts are selfish and self-righteous, prideful acts, and so they're not good acts. God doesn't accept that they're not good. The unconverted can't do anything good because the reason behind his actions, no matter how good he might appear to the people, the reason behind those actions are all with pride. And so pride is the complete anti-God state of mind. So when I'm saying I'm redeemed from the curse of the law. I'm redeemed from the slavery to sin. I'm redeemed from the power of the enemy. And I'm redeemed by the blood of the Lamb. How it says the life is in the blood. How much do you think that the life of Christ is worth? It's of an infinite value. The blood of Christ is of infinite value because it's the life of Christ. It's of infinite value. Propitiation. And hilasterion, I believe is the Greek. And again, like I was saying, it was also used for the word mercy seat. And so Christ is our mercy seat. He's the sacrificial lamb. All the slaughters that they did when they would offer up these lambs and so forth in the Jewish cultic sacrificial system, all of these pointed to Christ, who would be the Lamb of God, God himself. So again, justification solves the problem of man's guilt before a holy God, holy, righteous, just judge of the universe. And redemption solves man's issue of being in bondage to slave, to sin, and the evil influence of both the world and the devil and his evil cohorts. Propitiation solves the issue of our offenses against the holy, righteous, just, perfect God, Creator. Like I said back in the day, the ancients would have a mountain or something, and they would worship these demons and these false gods, and they would offer up sacrifices to appease the anger and wrath of this false god, right? And so the beautiful thing about Christianity, though, is that God the Father sends God the Son. So it's not like God the Son is shielding us from an angry God the Father. No, this was God the Father's plan, and the Son performed the plan. He executed the plan, if you will. And so I had some notes here that I don't know if I can even use these notes because I think they're not in the public domain. But I'll just tell David Guritz that I apologize. I'm sure he'd want you guys to hear. I'm sure he won't be angry about you guys hearing some of his notes here. Well, actually, I already told you guys all that. So, when I say that God is just, when I say that God is righteous, I'm saying that every one of his attributes are infinite. Every one of his attributes are infinite. He's indescribable. Like I've said before, if I try to wrap a 1-foot piece of paper around a 3-foot in diameter telephone pole, it's not going to work out that good. So he is incomprehensible. But if I say, what is God like? If somebody asks me, what is God like? And I say, well, and I get this from Tozer, what is he like? Known to himself? Nobody knows. And nobody can know. Because God could only comprehensively describe himself to an equal, meaning he can't describe himself to anybody. But he has revealed certain things that we know of him through Holy Writ. So there are things that we can know about him. The first thing, most theologians will tell you that God's glory is his manifest holiness. And his holiness is his hidden glory. Holiness comes from the Hag or Hal in the Anglo-Saxon coming into English, and then then the Hebrew it's kabat, I believe, but it means other than, distinct, transcendent. God is nothing like us. He's nothing like in all of creation. All of creation speaks eloquently of its creator, though. When you look at the sun, you see how massive it is, the big light, right? Christ is the light. He's the illuminator. When you look at the vastness of the universe, you think of eternity and infinity or infinitude. So we can learn certain things by looking around at creation and learn certain things about him. It says the fullness of the earth is his glory. So if you were to look on your skin in a microscope, you'd see all these little dinosaur-looking animals, microscopic dinosaurs crawling all over us everywhere. It's called bacteria. And they're pretty gnarly looking. And if you didn't have them, then the whole earth would be filled with human skin real quick and we'd all die. And that's just these little microscopic animals, and they're everywhere. So the fullness of the earth is his glory. In the Hebrew, it means the whole earth is full of his glory. In the English translation, but in the Hebrew, it says the fullness of the earth is his glory. And so when we look around and we see just all the birds of the air, you see all the fish of the sea. We're kind of like fish. You know, fish don't really know that we're up here. They might see a shadow of us, but for the most part, they see everything around them from side to side, kind of like a panoramic 180 view. That's why they got one eye on each side of their head. And so, but we're kind of like fish. We're like ostriches sticking our head in the sand, and we just want to look around in the sand and in the dark. And instead of learning about God and contemplating who and what he is, and learning through Holy Writ about him. You know, the most important thing that we can do in life is to cultivate a relationship with the ineffable majesty on high. And it boggles my mind sometimes when I notice that people, especially where I'm at, I'll see people, they've had strokes and stuff, and they'll just be sitting there coloring. And I'm like, you're going to spend your time coloring? There was a guy, a pianist, right? And he was playing in an orchestra, and he was a famous guy. And one of the people that were watching the concert comes over to him and says, "Man, I would give my life to play the piano like you." And he says, "I did give my life to play the piano like me." And so, the most important thing that we can do is to cultivate this relationship with the Lord. It's not, there's nothing more important than that. Nothing. There's nothing at all more important than this. And the fact that he's even mindful of us, they would even extend this offer of relation to us, is mind-boggling. When ustedes, because like I've said before, if the King of England came over to me and said, "Hey, Asa, I want you to come and work for me and be in my service," it is such a joy for me to come here and to do dishes and stuff. You know why? Because the fact that God would allow me to serve his people, to serve his church, to serve him, just blows my mind. That God would allow me, a wretch that's taken innocent lives, to serve him. That just blows my mind. And so, there's nothing more important than to understand this gospel, to cultivate an understanding of Christ and what he's done. Remember, because like I said, you can't know somebody until you know what they've done. Until you know what they've done. You ask you go around, you ask 100 people, you go into heaven, what are they going to say? They're going to say, "Yeah, I'm a good guy. I go to work. I feed my kids. I ain't killed nobody." So they think they're going to somehow tip the scales in their favor to please God. Why is that? Why do they think that? Because they have no conception of who God is. They have no conception of who they are. Without understanding who he is, I don't know anything about myself. and knowing what is sin, why is sin, and I'm kind of doing a recap on everything here. What is sin? Why is it so heinous? Why is it so grievous? It's because of the person that we've sinned against. He's of infinite value, of infinite superiority, of infinite majesty, of infinite beauty, of infinite worth. And so when you sin against a being like this, remember, like I said, if I sin against my friend here, that's one thing. I sin against a cop, that's another. I get more time in prison for that. I sin against a senator, I get even more time in prison for that. I sin against the President of the United States, I get even more prison time for that. And so this gives us